Hello. Good morning, everyone. I have the important task of announcing OFN's 2022 winner of the Justice Award. So my name is Yanki Shering. I'm the Executive Director of Accompany Capital, a CDFI based here in New York, which specializes in working with immigrant and refugee entrepreneurs. So as you know, immigrants and refugees come to New York seeking safety, security, and a better life, but in turn contribute to the rich cultural diversity and financial success of our city and our country. However, often they also face many challenges and discrimination. So this morning, I have the pleasure of introducing you to an organization and their fearless leader, Bhairavi Desai, who along with her team have stood up for their refugee, immigrant, and also American-born brothers and sisters to ensure justice in its true sense. Mission of the New York Taxi Workers Alliance is to commit to a progressive, international, democratic labor movement that stands in steadfast solidarity with workers' movements in the US and around the world. So just a few of their accomplishments. This 25,000 member strong union fights for justice rights, respect, and dignity for New York City's 150,000 yellow cab, green cab, and black car drivers, including drivers for Uber and Lyft. Members come from every community, garage, and neighborhood, and represent over 90 countries. This union has won back close to $100 million in stolen wages, established the first ever livable income standard for drivers in the country, provided free health screenings to over 10,000 drivers, and annually serves 15,000 drivers and families through a robust social services and advocacy program. So most recently, New York Taxi Workers Alliance, under the leadership of Bhairavi Desai and her team of dedicated legal social activists, worked with the Brooklyn Legal Services and won the first ruling of employee status of Uber drivers by the New York State Department of Labor. In 2021, after a 45-day and very dramatic and intense campout outside City Hall, including a 15-day hunger strike, this union won a historic medallion debt forgiveness program, including a city-backed guarantee and grants and an agreement from the largest lender to reduce debts. To date, Yellow Cab medallion owners and drivers and individuals have received over $225 million in debt forgiveness. In response to COVID, New York Workers Taxi Alliance secured over $1 million in grants, loans, and benefits for their drivers. On January 28, 2017, New York Workers Taxi Alliance members held a strike at JFK Airport in protest of the hateful Muslim ban. In 2021, New York and Philadelphia formed the National Taxi Workers Alliance, the 57th affiliate of the AFL-CIO and its first one of independent contractors. So it is now my pleasure, and I hope Bhairavi Desai will, along with her team, will join us on the stage. So, Bhairavi, it is my pleasure on behalf of OFN to present the 2022 Justice Award to Bhairavi and the New York Taxi Workers Alliance.
Thank you so much, everybody. Good morning. Thank you so much on behalf of all of us from the New York Taxi Workers Alliance. It is such a joy to be out here today, and it's such an honor to be introduced by our dear sister Yankee, who has been one of our allies for years in this movement. You know, we've had many moments in the darkness of a tunnel, and we've met so many angels along the way who've always shone light into that tunnel as we've made our way out. And our dear sister Yankee has been one of them. So we are here this morning to thank you for this tremendous honor and this vote of confidence. But also we want to deliver a message to all of you in particular. You know, we won a historic debt forgiveness campaign, as Yankee said, after 45 days of a 24/7 campout, where many of my brothers and sisters from Richard and Wayne, Javid, Dorothy, Sister Andrea, Basha, Suvesh, Momo, Tipu, our sister Ali, who's in the audience. We had many of our members who slept in their cabs outside on Broadway in Murray, the entrance of our famed City Hall. And for 15 of those days, we went out on a hunger strike. We had nothing but water, and we had a wonderful organization called New York City Doctors, which serves movements that go on hunger strikes, that came in every single day to check on us. Our brother Richard, who's the moral leader of our movement, did that strike for 15 straight days. And we did that hunger strike. It was a culmination of a 7-year campaign for us. Medallions, the numbers you see on top of the yellow cabs, are legal permit from the city of New York. They were once valued at $1 million, and in a workforce that is 96% immigrant had been sold what was supposed to be the American dream. But meanwhile, the same city that made $850 million from those sales went behind our backs and allowed in Uber and Lyft without regulation and allowed for predatory lending terms, the combination of all which crashed this market and left thousands of our members drowning in a very deep debt. Through that tragic time, we lost 9 of our brothers to suicide, including our dear brother Kenny, who was the brother of Richard. And, you know, because of Richard's leadership and the families who had such an enormous depth of courage and integrity, once the suicide started, we never left the streets. We stayed on those streets for 4 straight years, fighting for our justice, and the hunger strike was the culmination of that. And, you know, I must say to all of you in particular, while there were many bad actors in the financial sector that led to the tragedies and to this deep crisis, there were also really good actors in the financial sector that worked with us to bring about a resolution. That resolution that we called for and won of last year was a city-backed guarantee on our loans. So there's no longer a personal guarantee. In exchange, the lenders agreed to bring down our debts from an average $550,000 to today, $200,000. The city added a $30,000 grant for an immediate cash payment on the loan, and the remaining $170,000 is fully securitized by the city of New York. Yeah. As a result of this, we are finally coming out of this painful crisis. Finally, the restructurings have begun, and I'm so proud to say that as of today, we have had over $250 million in debt written down. So, some of the financial institutions have come forward to restructure the loans directly. However, there's still a handful of institutions that are looking to exit the industry. They're offering cash settlements to our members, but our members don't have the $170,000 or $150,000 to pay off that settlement. And so today, we are looking for all of you for that support. We're looking to raise $200 million so that 1,000 of the loans that remain, where the lender has already pledged a cash settlement, through your support, we can make that payment to the lender. Your loan would then be entered into the city's program. You would receive a $30,000 immediate infusion of cash per loan, and the remaining balance would be securitized by the City of New York. It is absolutely a zero-risk proposition with a large infusion of cash immediately. And there's an entire apparatus set up with the city to close on these loans. And so you can do bulk closing simultaneously. And there's a third-party servicer for those of you who may have the capital but do not want to service the loans. Through this program, there's a third-party servicer that will do that work for you. And so we've set up this program. We're lined up, but we need you. We need you to help us wrap up this final victory. We started out with 6,000 loans underwater. We're now at about 3,000. Of the 3,000, we have less than 1,000 for which we need the support. So we have a booth out there in the expo. We're all going to be here. We have information that further explains this program that we're going to be handing out to all of you as you're exiting this ballroom today. But please come and seek us out. With you, we can finally get this done. We're really thankful to Accompany Capital that's already taken the first step to partner with us on a small number of these loans. Thank you, Yankee. We're grateful to, we've had other partners along this journey from the CDFI community. I don't know if Nancy and Rodney are still here, and also Paul from Ascendus, and Jesse from Renaissance. But we've had, our local folks. We're so thankful to them who gave us tremendous encouragement. But now, my brothers and sisters, we need that capital. We've got the guarantee. We've got cash infusion. We just need some capital in our hands to wrap this up. And, lastly, I just want to share this with you. While we won this campaign fighting on the streets, we shut down the Brooklyn Bridge. We shut down the Queens, 59th Street Bridge. That you've seen in all the Spider-Man movies. We did also shut down the doors of some banks and some hedge funds. We camped out at City Hall. We work on the streets. We live on the streets. We win on the streets. That's who we are. But throughout this campaign, particularly through COVID, we had WhatsApp groups where we communicate with each other. They first started in mutual aid groups where we announced where the food banks were and how to apply for unemployment. We sent each other medicines when people were tested positive with COVID in the early months of COVID. And soon, over time, it also became the space where we held a virtual memorial for all the brothers and sisters that we lost, through the pandemic. And then we started meeting every week on Zoom. And we have on average 300 to 400 of us that meet every Friday night. And I just wanted to tell all of you that during those meetings, when we came up with the concept of the guarantee fund, during our Zoom meetings, we used to share the screen of the Excel spreadsheets. We have a loan amortization schedule, music to your ears, I'm sure. And as people used to get cash settlement offers, we used to plug the numbers in. And so we did all this, financial education with each other and for each other through the meetings, to the point where all of us, over 400 of our soldiers, were well versed on how the guarantee fund worked, what laws supported it, and down to each dollar, what it would cost the city, what it would cost the lenders, and what it would cost our families. So, numbers matter in the world. Numbers matter in the fight for justice. Numbers can often tell our story, and they certainly reveal the principles and the values which each of us hold. Those numbers for us were about the 6,000 families. They were about the $550,000 average debt. They were about the $50 million, which would have been the cost to the city to run the guarantee. And ultimately, they were about the number 9, the 9 of our brothers that we lost to this tragedy, to this crisis, and to his memory. We have pledged to always continue the fight for justice, because it can never be too late for anybody. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for welcoming us into your space. And I can't wait to get to say thank you to those of you who work with us to help us raise that risk-free $200 million so we can wrap up this victory. Thank you, everybody.